In the Trenches with Ryan Roxie.
Because we're sitting here with Tracii Guns right now, talking old school LA. I want to talk about a bunch of the other bands that you've been in besides, plus your current band, Sunbomb, because I know that album just came out. But us being a little bit younger than the Motley Crue era.
That's right.
Did you feel back in those days, did you ever have any contact with Randy Rhoads and Quiet Riot and Motley Crue and W.A.S.P and those, because they seem like the bands that was right before us, and
That's
you were
right.
growing up in LA. Were you going to the Troubadour to watch those shows?
I was. That was what really turned me on to live music, really, was, I used to go to the Troubadour on weekdays because it seemed safe, and bands like White Sister and this one really cool band called Wizard. And they were kind of like, bands of the time, like kind of maybe Rush influenced. And then White Sister was, kind of this pre-80s rock band, like morphing from 70s rock into 80s rock. And then I saw an ad for Motley Crue at Pookie's in Pasadena. And I loved the picture, but I couldn't go. I couldn't get to Pasadena. But then they played the Troubadour. And I went and saw them, and that was the end of my life. I was like, whoa, what the hell?
Remember what year that was? Was that the first album, or was that even before that?
Way before, so it was like they played all the songs that were the first album for sure.
Okay.
Opened with Take Me to the Top, the whole deal, But then I started seeing W.A.S.P regularly, and, Rat I saw a couple times with Jakey Lee back then. And what were the other bands? I mean, it was all about Motley and W.A.S.P really for me. Oh yeah, Steven. But yeah, I mean, I became friends with those guys because like we were saying earlier, you and I were cute little kids kind of at that time, and I had this trying to be long hair, I could never get my hair, by the time I needed my hair to be long, we were already signed. You know what I mean? It was like, I had this mid-length hair trying to do something forever. And
I think it was a crimping iron that changed my life. It was either a crimping, because it was before a straightening iron, but the crimping iron at first I had to make it work, and it was like crimpy. But then the straightening iron was a game changer for sure. But there was a couple other bands, because we must have been in the same club, because I used to go on the weekday nights as well. Rick Fox's Sin. I think that was
I never
one
saw
of
them, but I know the band.
And because Rick Fox was the bassist, and he was in a band called Steeler before with Yngwie.
That's right. That's right.
On the first album. So I don't know if you ever saw any of that at the Troubadour, but
I saw the ads, and I was very big on image, because I had seen Motley Crue. Right. And I'm like, if a band didn't look like Motley Crue at that time, I mean, I was 15 or 16, then
okay, so
it was like Death to False Motley, kind of a mentality.
I was 16 or 17, and Motley Crue played at Keystone, Berkeley.
Wow,
small club up in Northern California. It was about me and about maybe 75, 100 people. It was like one of those, one of those club tours that we all know too well.
Oh yeah.
And even before that, Nicky's band, which was a band called London. Now that has been sort of the infamous thing of that London. If you wanted to be a musician in Los Angeles, you had to have played in the band London. But now they did change that, and all credit, again, you get more historical credit. If you want to be a musician in LA, you have had to play a gig in LA Guns.
That's right. That's right. I think London spawned more stars, more legitimate.
I don't know, man. You guys, what are you talking about? Because
LA.
Think
about it. Izzy was in London, and Nicky was in London, and I guess that's it. I guess those are the two.
No, I remember.
You're right. London seems like this thing, but yeah.
And if you go on the list, I mean, there is an actual Wikipedia list of LA Guns members. And I know that you've been, the thing about the wiki thing says 4 stints. When you've been in 4 stints of your own band, then there's bound to be lots of members. And there's one thing. How many members do you think total? Because I actually did the math and I counted them up. And I double checked it with Vic.
Yeah.
How many members do you think total have been in LA Guns in all formations? What do you think? Give it a number.
I would say 66.
Close. It's
Damn
actually the actual count is 50, but I think you're probably right, because I was going to say it's 50, but it's one more than 50 because I am not actually listed on your Wikipedia page. I hope someone does do that, because I did play one gig in LA Guns at an Artists Worldwide show when it was Phil's LA Guns at that time, and the guitarist that was playing, or maybe it was you at that time, I don't know. Someone couldn't make it out to the gig. It was a baseball gig, baseball field way out in, East LA, or just drive east and keep going east. It was Artists Worldwide, so
that
you just keep, out in the Redlands. So I played one gig with LA Guns. So I was going to say one more than 50, but you're probably right. There's probably more people that have been in between there. But that's a hell of a lot of musicians.
Yeah, there is. And but there's only, it's hard to look at the band because the band's strange, right? If you look at the albums, even including the albums that I didn't play on, there's probably less than 25, right? But then you look at the live performance side, and that's where you get a lot of, other names that come in, because it's just, anyways, I don't pay that much attention. I'm not positive.
Do you have an LA Guns tattoo somewhere on your?
I do not, because because I knew that's kind of the jinx, right? That's kind of
they'd be thinking that, they'd be expecting that,
right? Yeah, it's like no LA Guns tattoo.
You're the illustrated man, and you don't have one LA Guns. That's a very interesting fact. But you do have one that you mentioned earlier of
Killing Machine,
from Killing Machine, and that was that's one of your solo projects that you've done.
Right. That was a long time ago. That was like 93, I think. So yeah. I mean, the years just keep going, man.
And there was and through the years, getting back to that point of, passing of the guard and passing of the torch of rock and roll, you did end up playing with those guys with Nicky from Motley, because you ended up playing in a band called Brides of Destruction.
Right.
And we actually toured together for a very short time, but we did it. We did a tour together. Now looking back on those years, can you look back on Brides as a great experience? Weird experience?
Great experience.
Okay.
Just, that's the thing about being in a band or being part of something. And now with the internet, you have this like heavy manipulation of perceptions and things, and what do you believe, what do you not believe? But everybody I've ever played with in any concept, form, shape, club, arena, studio, garage, phone booth, whatever it is, it's always a great experience, because you're playing music with somebody that you respect. Like there's Michael DeBar and Slim Jim Phantom, and you did that after I left for a long time.
I'm going to get to that point that is like, you don't have an LA Guns tattoo. I don't believe that you and I have ever played in a band together, and I've tried to figure it out, like why we didn't. And was it at that point, was our egos too big as guitar players to ever play together during those years? Because I think, like whatever, those 80s were a lot of testosterone.
Right.
There's no doubt. There's
yeah. I mean, there's now that we're less immature, you look back and you brought this question up earlier, but we didn't cover it, is like, was there this rivalry? And it's like, yes, during the Cat House years, everybody pretended to like everybody else.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, yeah, hey, blah, blah, blah.
So you're saying
talking time in history.
Yeah, there was a camaraderie that I felt. There was genuine camaraderie, but there was definitely like, going to the shows to see like, what is this guy got that I can maybe, put into my show or put into our band's show? What's this band doing that we can either borrow from or do something completely different because they already got the market on that.
I'm Ryan Roxie, and I've taken all my years of experience of playing guitar, and I want to pass the torch of rock and roll on to you. Check out the System 12 Guitar Method.